So 15 years ago, I purchased a property. It's 15 acres. And what happened, the way I did it, and why it happened, was I'd been working in Toronto. I'm from BC. And I've been working in Toronto for 2 years. And I don't like cities just at all. So living in a city and not being able to leave, I didn't have a car. I was just young, just starting my career. I was 23 to 25, so yeah, I was just starting out. I didn't have any money, and I lived very poorly in Toronto to save up some money, because what I wanted to do when I got back to BC was to buy land. That was the top thing on my priority list. So once I got back to BC, I went on a road trip with a buddy of mine, and on the first day we drove up to a place, and it's just for less than 3 hours from BC, from Vancouver, Coquitlam, where I lived, and I just loved it. It was just beautiful, awesome, just out of the way, kind of just out of the way. You cross off into the boonies for a bit, and there's just some nice land, beautiful, just beautiful, stunning views, just really dynamic landscape, and I just fell for it right away. So just drove around through the forest basically until I went to a rafting place, and I asked the people who were working there if they knew of anyone selling land in the area, and a fellow told me that a logging company had been selling land 10 years earlier, but he didn't know if they still had any land or anything. But that was a good tip, because when I went to the real estate agent in town, and I talked to other people as well, but they didn't have any tips for me. The real estate agent in town, he was not helpful. I went to his office, and it was open, but the door was locked, so I was a bit confused. So I went to the restaurant next door, and I was like, "Are they open? Why? What's the deal?" And they're like, "Oh, he's not in there. Oh, you just check the bar across the street." So I went across the street, and sure enough, the real estate agent was drinking in the bar, and he wasn't happy to talk to me and wasn't interested, so it wasn't helpful. But that logging company tip was perfect. So I went home, and I contacted the logging company, asked if they had any land left in the area. And they did. It turns out that they forgot that they even had it. They had two pieces. They forgot that they even had them, and they were happy to get rid of them, and they were willing to sell them for the price they were selling them 10 years before. So crazy cheap, super cheap. In fact, I just wanted the one, and they threw in a second piece just as a bonus, which is a pretty weird thing to do. So I got the 15-acre piece that I was interested in, that they were telling me about, and then they threw in what was supposed to be a 4-acre piece that was attached but didn't have road access. So that's why they were throwing it in, because that's just how they did it. So I went to the regional district office to find out more information about the properties, and the 15-acre piece was exactly what it said. Everything seemed perfect, but they kept giving me like the wrong documents, or something was wrong about the 4-acre piece. It was just total incorrect. But I didn't really care, because that was the bonus piece. That wasn't the one I was that interested in anyway. So I went through with the deal. The deal went through. Everything was great. No problem at all. I went back to the regional district office because I wanted the actual information on the 4-acre piece that I'd purchased. And when I got there, they gave me the same documents that were nonsense. It didn't make any sense. But it turns out they made a mistake, and it was actually a 15-acre piece right outside of town. The first property right outside of town. So that was pretty sweet. it wasn't a very valuable piece. There would have been real challenges to build on it, because it's just really steep slopes and whatnot. It was a beautiful piece, though. It had a river going through it, and a creek going through it, and beautiful views, really close proximity to everything. So it's pretty sweet. Yeah, and I was able to sell that one actually the year or two after for as much as I paid for both. So I got a 15-acre piece of property for free, basically. Actually, I made a little bit. So it was deal of the lifetime. So that's the history of the property, and then I'll go into what I've been doing with it next.